Go.
Hello, Shikers, and welcome back to Nerdy Chic Universe here on YouTube. And we're at Omni Expo 2017 for our fourth year in a row. Yay! Today we have Mr. Policy Peter as one of the interviews this year, and well, since I tend to introduce your characters, do you mind introducing them yourself?
Oh, no problem. I have many characters. Among them right now, the biggies, of course, are Xemnas and Kingdom Heart. Let me say that right, Kingdom Hearts. In Naruto, I'm the nine-tailed fox, Kurama. And Bleach, of course, I was Yami Ryalgo. And One Punch Man, the Beast King.
Nice.
And let's see, Digimon, of course, Wormmon and Leomon, my two big ones.
So how does it feel being back here in Omni Expo in Orlando?
Fantastic. It was wonderful. Even just flying in last night, I remember what a great time I had last night. And just great time I had last year. And there was concern about venue and that sort of thing. And when I got the email asking me about coming back, I was very, very pleased.
Well, welcome to the Florida Mall, at least.
Thank you.
Let's see. Since you've been here last year, what has happened to you since then?
Well, let's see. I've done a pretty fair amount of traveling. For instance, I did a convention in Ireland.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun. BroCon. I've begun working on some new series, and between last year and this year, I've began and completed the series Ajin, which was on.
Awesome show, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, on Netflix, and I played the character of Hirasawa, and of course, as in keeping with all of my other roles, I got killed. And then we're getting back. There's going to be more Digimon coming.
Yay.
I am resurfacing as Leomon anyway, and maybe there'll be more. I'm very happy about that. And Dragon Ball Super, although I can't say anything about it. I'm on
Hush, hush.
NDA.
non-disclosure agreement right now. So
That's fine. That's fine.
lots of NDAs on a lot of different things. I did a show called Hero Man, same thing. Can't say anything, sorry.
Well,
It's
at
just
least,
cool to know that you're in those shows.
So I'm so happy.
yeah, at least you're here with Josh Martin and Chris Rager.
Yes.
Which we're going to be interviewing them tomorrow.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Since you do the voice acting panels, what got you into doing something like that at conventions? What inspired you?
Well, I had done a couple of conventions, and typically the normal fare was that we did Q&As. Sit down, then you would go on autograph tables and do more, basically what amounts to interviews. And as I became more popular with conventions, they were asking me, what panels do you do, what panels do you do, what panels do you do? And I thought everything was always Q&A, so I thought, well, why don't I come up with some ideas? And what struck me was to do panels about what people ask me about anyway. How do you do the voices? How do you come up with the characters? Where did you learn all those accents and dialects, etc.? So I created my panels from there. The crazy one I'm doing tonight, which is Pirate Curses.
Oh, yes.
That came out of my own linguistic research. I love to study things about languages, dialects, and all that sort of thing, linguistics overall. And my little sister told me I should do something with it. And she suggested parties, and I don't do balloons and juggling for kids. But it struck me that would be a good idea for a panel, so I created it about 2 years ago, the very first time I did it.
Yeah, we went to that last year and hoping to come to it tonight
Absolutely.
since we saw it on the schedule. And that was actually pretty interesting. The funny thing was Expedition Unknown did an episode about Captain Kidd.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I watched it myself and I thought it was pretty interesting myself. I studied humanities back in college, so I'm kind of into that stuff. Yeah.
And pirates are cool no matter how you do it. So.
Of course.
Yeah.
What other conventions have you taken these panels to?
Well, let's see. I've done a pretty fair number of them. Let's see. 2 weeks ago, I was in Omaha for Kanpai. I have become a regular guest. Basically, they call me a legacy guest at Yamacon in Tennessee. I was there in December. That was the day I arrived. Was the day those fires kicked up, and Gatlinburg went up in flames. About 1,600 buildings destroyed.
Really?
And while we were there, we created a benefit fund and donated money directly to the community. Yamacon is always a favorite of mine. I even cook for the staff. And of course, Anime Fargo, another one where everybody's family. And last year, of course, Anime Iowa too, had a fantastic there. And bringing my panels and basically what I talk about in terms of what we as voice actors do in the entire business, the entire industry, and how we help things grow. And kind of like bring new information about anime to all the fans.
Because also Chris Sabat does voice acting related panels himself, and he lets people try it out over microphones and clips. And during the Omni Year 1, he did it with a clip from, I think, DBZ Kai at the time. And it was interesting to hear so many people trying that out, since DBZ can be rough on the voice box.
Yes, I talk about that in my panels, which I call voice maker and then voice performer, and talk about how I create those voices and how you need to be very, very careful with them, with a lot of training. I'm sure with Chris, with all of his experience, he can probably do these things without doing any kind of damage. But once you know how to do that sort of thing, then try that. But for instance, I do a lot of different kinds of monster voices. I will tell people, don't do that unless you've taken the kinds of classes and gotten the training, or you don't damage yourself.
Well, speaking of people going to your panels, and with the people that go to them, have you heard any stories of them going into voice acting after your panels?
I have a couple. There's one gentleman from Florida. After I had done a con here, the con chair a few months later recommended that this young man contact me. And then he contacted me himself, saying that he had this friend that he felt like he deserved a chance to give a shot at it. So I sent a few pieces to him by email, had him record his MP3s, and then I listened to them and gave him some critiques. He's been doing some industrial work and in college and with locals, basically podcasting voices and kind of getting himself established. So it does happen. It's difficult to do outside of the major network areas if you're not in, say, Los Angeles or Dallas or New York or Chicago. But there are ways to at least get on your feet and start doing it. This young man is apparently doing very well with that.
That's good. I always like to ask this question, especially for all the voice actors, since you've been in the booth for the longest time. What was the funniest thing that ever happened to you while in the booth, or any pranks that you might have played on one of your castmates?
Oh, that covers a pretty broad spectrum. Wow. The funniest, you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I always love to hear the answers from so many people.
Well, I was dubbing a French film into English, and many of the listeners, and you guys will know the name of Richard Epcar.
Yes.
Yeah. Been a friend of mine since Robotech. I started at Robotech, and that was about the time he started too. And he's been a friend, director, writer, and all these things for the longest time. And we were looping this film, dubbing, I'm sorry. Foreign film to English is called dubbing. If you're going English to English, it's called looping. So we were dubbing this one French film called Delicacy. And I came in for the first session, and I had been in about a half an hour, and Richard was there. And he said, "Hey, it's a pretty good script, isn't it?" Now, when you look at the screen, it has by Richard Epcar all the way across it. That's an electronic watermark, you might say, so nobody can just take it. You know? And he said, "That's a pretty good script, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes, it is." I said, "If only Richard Epcar could write like this." You know? And he got on the talkback and said, "Yes, if only." But we're always doing crazy things to each
Yes.
other. Some of them are, I can't mention here on an interview, you know, but we always have a good time with each other, always giving each other a hard time. It's part of the joy of it really is the work, yes, but more so the people I've gotten to meet and work with over the years.
Yeah, I always love to ask that question since, you know, a lot of people have funny stories and it's always, you know, try to have that nice little laugh in between. My final question is, are there any new projects that you can talk about?
That you haven't already mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Everything's kind of current. I did the one for, again, Dragon Ball Super. And I'm going back to work on that next week. But again, not much I can say.
All right.
Yeah, beyond that. And again, it's with ongoing work like this, or things that we have completed, but we are not releasing, we don't know when. They like to keep these things under wraps, almost like they're secret weapons.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
if somebody opens a show and it has a certain subject matter that you think might be in competition with yours, maybe you want to open it a little bit sooner than they do, all that sort of thing. So I can't really talk about what's completed. There was a Japanese, what we would call a soap opera in this country, or a novela in Spanish, but called Dr. X. And I did voice work on that. So it was Japanese to English. So they chose me in part because some of my Japanese pronunciations are very good.
Of course.
But also they wanted, it was an older character, that's the downside. You know, they wanted me to be the old guy in this one. So that one, I'm not sure where that's going to be released, but I think it probably will be available on YouTube and possibly Netflix too.
Look out for that, people.
Yes.
So that's about it. Great to see you again, Paul, and hoping that we could hear more of your work as time goes on.
Fantastic, and let's have a great weekend.
Same here.
Okay, and done.